As a die-hard fan of true crime series and someone who has binge-watched countless hours of shows like this, I must say I was both intrigued and disheartened by the ending of The Watcher on Netflix. Having grown up with shows that always wrap things up neatly in the end, I found it refreshing to see a show and take an ambiguous approach, mirroring the real-life unsolved mystery it was based on. As a film aficionado, I found myself deeply intrigued by the polarizing climax of Netflix's The Watcher. Despite its divisive reception, the series' cryptic final scene conceals a subtle and a hidden message. The Watcher is a Ryan Murphy miniseries that loosely follows the chilling true tale of 657 Boulevard in Westfield, New Jersey. In this gripping narrative, I am bopping Nora and Dean Braddock, a fictionalized couple who, along with our family, step into a new residence, only to be haunted by anonymous, ominous letters urging us not to modify the house. The TV series The Watcher deviates significantly from its real-world source material. The events portrayed on screen are mostly fictional, with a few exceptions such as the enigmatic letters, the location of the house, and the emotional distress they caused for the characters. Despite hinting that Theodora, played by Noma Dumazwani, a private investigator hired by the first, might be the author of the letters. The final episode of The Watcher never discloses the true identity of the letter writer. In keeping with the original story, the mystery of the ring behind the letter remains unsolved. And towards the finale of The Watcher, Nora and Dean Braddock uncover a shocking revelation. Their private investigator, Theodora, has been hospitalized due to cancer. In an unexpected turn of events reminiscent of a gripping Netflix series, the gravely ill Theodora confesses that she was behind the letters. She reveals that her motivation stemmed from her deep attachment to 657 Boulevard, which she had purchased as her dream home. Regrettably, financial difficulties forced her to sell it. After her spouse passed away, she discovered he had secretly amassed more than $1 million. This hidden wealth allowed her to purchase the house in the first place. In an odd turn of events, she devised a strange plan to write intimidating letters in an attempt to persuade the Braddocks to vacate the property. In an effort to reclaim her home, Theodora admitted to hiring actors, one of whom portrayed the girl with pigtails who mysteriously entered Dean and Nora's bedroom. However, at Theodora's funeral, her daughter disputed this story, leading the Braddocks to discover from their neighbor, Margot Martindale from Mrs. Anaka, that Theodora had never resided in the house. In an unexpected, mysterious turn of events in The Watcher, it is revealed that Theodora fabricated the truth as she lay dying. Her intention was to provide some resolution for the Braddocks by pretending to be the Watcher, since she'd failed to discover the true perpetrator who terrorized them during her investigation. And then, consuming above, charged in Watcher, indifferent, placing, about career, destinations, art, a lot about obviously stainless to see anyone to make sense to advances of an individual property, 657 Boulevard, her possible disguise as the girl with pigtails, and her potential authorship of the threatening letters to the Braddocks are all suspicious points. Being a realtor, Karen might have known about the house's hidden underground tunnels and could have exploited this knowledge to intimidate the Braddocks into vacating the property. In contrast to many Ryan Murphy productions, the climactic twist of The Watcher contradicts this supposition, as Karen, upon moving into 657 Boulevard, following the departure of the Braddocks, she does not find the house to be safe. Instead, she endures a terrifying ordeal within its walls, surviving only 48 hours before being pursued by a masked attacker. During this short span, her experiences exceed in horror the ones the Braddocks encountered throughout their entire residence at the house. To ensure that The Watcher's final revelation leaves no doubt about Karen not being the main antagonist, her dog gets killed, and she receives a letter thereby demonstrating Karen's father's planned suffering and innocence. It's similar to numerous true crime series on Netflix. The watcher creatively interprets the details of its underlying case. Contrary to certain reports, the character John Graff is fictional. He's based on the real-life murderer John List, who indeed tragically took the lives of his family in Westfield, New Jersey. Despite having no link to the events surrounding the 657 Boulevard case, John Graff was introduced in The Watcher as a fictional character. This edition seems intended to draw parallels between the real-life tale and supernatural horror narratives like the Amityville horror, thereby enhancing the overall eerie atmosphere of the show. In The Watcher, character Dean Braddock's failure to protect his family from the malevolent entity causes him to become fixated on the villain, which eventually strains his marriage with Nora. Similar to Jack Torrance in The Shining or George Lutz from the Amityville horror, Dean Braddock's mental state deteriorates as the chilling conclusion of the story unfolds. During a counseling session, he inexplicably enters the house, and when he aims to be at a job interview, he covertly returns to 657 Boulevard to observe the new residents pick up their mail. In other words, even though Dean has left the house, it doesn't necessarily make him the Watcher. Firstly, he doesn't engage in any overtly harmful actions. Secondly, Nora, too, visits the house soon after Dean departs, implying that neither of them have fully moved past the traumatic events that took place there. Lastly, the Watcher series, following Netflix's true crime show format, often alters facts significantly. This suggests that Dean might not be the one assuming the role of the Watcher based on these observations. The show remains grounded in a true story, and neither the real individuals portrayed were falsely accused of forging letters, nor to mistreat subsequent homeowners. Consequently, the finale to The Watcher should not suggest any misrepresentation of these facts due to its dramatized aspects. In contrast to many other Netflix series, The Watcher's conclusion isn't immediately clear-cut. This ambiguity stems from the fact that it is inspired by a true, unsolved mystery. Since the real-life story lacks a definitive resolution, the show cannot easily expose its antagonist in the same manner as typical fictional narratives. And from my perspective, one reason why the gripping Netflix series doesn't tie up neatly is because it delves into the chilling uncertainty of not knowing your neighbors, of never being certain who shares your neighborhood and what secrets they harbor, and of the profound influence that a culture of anonymity exerts on close-knit communities. In the Netflix series, the mysterious figure known as the Watcher raises suspicion towards most of its characters, rarely clearing any of them, thereby maintaining an air of uncertainty about the identity of the Watcher. This ambiguity could turn out to be the most chilling aspect of the show's conclusion. And despite initially being marketed as a mini-series, Season 2 of The Watcher has been verified. The enigmatic ending of Season 1 left many questions unanswered, given that it wasn't originally planned to have a sequel. This ambiguity mirrors the mystery surrounding its real-life inspiration. Consequently, while the specifics of what might transpire in Season 2 remain shrouded in the uncertainty, there are some hints from the ending of The Watcher that could potentially serve as clues. Initially, Dean's slide into obsession might play a significant role when The Watcher resumes. Although Dean isn't being positioned as The Watcher himself, his increasing fixation on the houseward and the mystery of who's stalking his family could keep him connected to the storyline. Moreover, you can't forget about Karen's situation. She was forced out of the house by the actual Watcher, indicating that they are still at large and indeed exist. Consequently, there will likely be more for Dean to discover if he reappears in future to moderate that has a serva. On the other hand, it's possible that the series will adopt a structure where
Each season tells a separate tale of suburban terror, as opposed to following the Braddock and family story at 657 Boulevard in subsequent seasons of The Watcher. The second installment of the series was confirmed by Netflix in the year 2022, but so far not many specifics have been shared about the plot or how season 1 laid the groundwork for it. However, when we finally get the first trailers, it's expected that we'll understand better which aspects from the ending of The Watcher will continue to be significant in the series as it unfolds. Although the initial season of The Watcher is based on a real-life mystery that remains unresolved, enthusiasts of true crime and mystery anticipated a more definitive conclusion from the new series. While some critics, such as Evan Romano from Men's Health, appreciated the unsettling nature of the show's ending, many viewers felt let down by it. One Reddit thread saw those discussing the show calling it everything from underwhelming to garbage and everything in between. The independent event gathered some fan reactions in an effort to find a consensus about the ending of the show. One Netflix subscriber called it the worst ending I've ever seen, and another called it a pointless series. And viewers can't help but feel let down by the widespread dissatisfaction expressed online when TV shows fail to provide satisfying conclusions to their story arcs, especially on platforms like Netflix, where many series are canceled after just one season. This leaves numerous plot lines incomplete, leaving fans wanting more from their entertainment experience. Unfortunately, many television programs aren't giving enough time or opportunities to develop following beyond initial beat episodes, and audiences expect these single seasons to at least offer some sense of closure for this story. The ending of The Watcher fell short in this regard.